Good day, everyone. This is the review questions for licensure examination, area, capture fisheries, topic, fishing gears and methods, week 4. Number 1. What is the method in creating a large number of meshes with a given amount of layers and lengths? A. Net making, B. Ribbing, C. Fly meshing, or D. Webbing? The answer is A. Net making. The construction of nets, an open textile in which threads are fused, looped, or knotted at their intersections, has been used in the past to catch and capture animals and fish. Number 2. In net making, if the twine is cut just below a knot and the knot unites, a loop will remain, which is referred to as blank. A. Against the knot's clear mesh, B. With the knot clear mesh, C. All bars cutting, or D. All points cutting? The answer is A. Against the knot clear mesh. The body circumference of girth of a few fish of the size you want to collect is used to determine the mesh size. Gill net mesh should be stretched to be around a fifth of the fish girth. Number 3. When it comes to catching pelagic fish, it's a net with a bunt on one end of the wings and a closing device on the lower portion to catch pelagic fish. A. Beach seine, B. Purse seine, C. Stop seine, or D. Reef seine? The answer is B. Purse seine. One of the most common types of purse seines is a big wall of netting that is set up around a large area or school of fish. It is then pushed in, preventing fish from swimming downward to escape by pursing the net closed on the bottom. Number 4. It is a net fishing gear fitted with a closing device at the lower portion with the bunt located at the center of net. A. Trammel net, B. Ring net, C. Scoop net, or D. Cast net? The answer is B. Ring net. A ring is a wall of netting that is shot to surround a shoal of pelagic fish with a long net. It can be run by a single vessel or a group of them. With no flowing purse line, it's pursing like a purse seine. Aside from that, it is normally on a lesser scale. Number 5. In this case, the hook is being powered by banca, and the trawl line is being used to power it. A. Trawl line, B. Hang line, C. Long line, or D. Pole end line? The answer is A. Trawl line. A trawling line is a line that is towed by a vessel at the surface or at a specific depth and is baited with natural or synthetic hooks. By utilizing outriggers to keep the lines away from the vessel's weight, many lines are frequently dragged at the same time. Number 6. The fish is caught by jumping into a horizontal floating or suspended net, or even an empty jumping or flying fisher, after it has met obstacles and falls back into a horizontal floating or suspended net. A. Miscellaneous gear, B. Traps for jumping or flying fish, C. Pole and line gear, or D. Wounding gear? The answer is B. Traps for jumping or flying fish. It is a fish trap that is used to catch fish. In the water, they are placed until a fish falls into a trap or until the fisherman decides to move it. Fishing traps are handy since they don't require fishermen to sit in front of them and waste time if they have something better to do. 7. Gears used by fish worker who throws some pointed object by hard or special equipment to wash a fish at some distance. A. Hand gear, B. Wounding gear, C. Pole and line gear, or D. Drive-in gear? The answer is B. Wounding gear. Whale harpoons are a type of wounding gear. The vessel fishing is frequently done from the shore. Small boats are also frequently used. In most cases, these gears are employed to catch isolated fish that swim close to the surface of a lake or a river. Number 8. A net which form a circle cornering the fish when thrown. A. Ring net, B. Bag net, C. Cast net, or D. Push net. The answer is C. Cast net. The use of a throw net to catch fish is a very efficient and effective method. When a cast net is thrown into the water, it falls over unsuspecting fish, as its name implies. With a string of weights around the edge and a handline in the center, a cast net is a circular net. Number 9. A surrounding net like a big dip net with bunt at the center. A. Round hole seine, B. Purse seine, C. Ring net, or D. Scoop net. The answer is round hole seine. Round hole seine, or in Tagalog, sapyaw, is like a deep net with a bunt at the center paid out in arc form around the school of fish. Fish are attracted to lights then hauled on board to boats by means of pull ropes attached to the lower half of the net. Number 10. A round hole seine having a bunt at Number 10. This is a round hole seine having a bunt at one end. The whole net is provided by pursing device in which a drawling is pulled. A. Ring net, B. Bag net, C. Purse seine, or D. Trawl. The answer is C. Purse seine. A purse seine is a large wall of netting deployed around an entire area or school of fish. The seine has floats along the top line with a lead line threaded through rings along the bottom. The lead line is then pulled in pursing the net close on the bottom, preventing the fish from escaping by swimming downward. Number 11. Consists of two separate parts, an outer curtain-like net and an inner pursing net. A. Stop seine, B. Trammel net, C. Push net, or D. Bag net. The answer is A. Stop seine. Stop seine or stop net shall mean any type of net, generally a whole seine, which is set across the mouth of a bay, arc of a beach, or other restricted body of water that may cause finfish to be stranded behind the net when the tide ebbs. Number 12. Drag seines operated on reef or over rough ground having the corking submerged and the lead line continuously freed from snag by drivers. A. Beach seine, B. Stop seine, C. Ring net, or D. Reef seine. The answer is D. Reef seine. Reef seine is similar to the beach seine with the float line submerged, fishes on reefs and continually unsnagged by divers. Number 13. Generally, a squared net which is operated in reverse by 4 persons from 4 bamboo outposts and operated by merely lifting the net without the use of pulley or blocks. A. Purse seine, B. Trawl, C. Gill net, or D. Lift nets. The answer is D. Lift nets. Lift nets, also called as lever nets, are a method of fishing using nets that are submerged to a certain depth and then lifted out of the water vertically. Number 14. 2 loops of twine joined with knots to form a diamond shape. A. Rope, B. Strand, C. Lace, or D. Mesh. The answer is D. Mesh. Mesh is the opening or space enclosed by the threads of a net between knot and knot, or the threads enclosing such a space, network, or a net. Number 15. The dimension of a mesh from the center of the knot to the center to the next diagonally opposite knot. A. Mesh size, B. Mesh diameter, C. Mesh stretch, or D. Mesh dimension. The answer is A. Mesh size. Number 16. An arrangement of nettings attached to the inner side of a net that prevents the escape of fish. A. Stop seine, B. Non-return valve, C. COD, and D. Leader? The answer is B. Non-return valve. Non-return valve is an arrangement of nettings attached to the inner side of a net that prevents the fish to escape. Number 17. Applying a piece of material to a net to cover or to strengthen a weak spot. A. Mending, B. Sizing, C. Patching, or D. Lacing? And the answer is C. Patching. Patching is a form of net repairing by applying a piece of material to a net to cover or to strengthen a weak spot. A strong thread, string, or cord of two or more strands twisted together. A. Twine, B. Rope, C. Line, or D. Artex? The answer is A. Twine. Twine is the main thread used for making hard fishing nets, which perfectly applies to weave mesh and sew or knot net fishing gear. Modern fishing lines intended for spinning, spin cast, or bait casting reels are almost entirely made from artificial substances, including nylon, polyvinylidene fluoride or PVDF, also called as fluorocarbon, polyethylene, Dacron, and UHMWPE, Honeywell's Spectra or Dyneema. Number 19. Part of the gear where the floats and netting are attached. A. Rear line, B. Ground line, C. Anchor line, or D. Float line? The answer is D. Float line. A float line allows fisher folks to shoot at any depth and let go of gear for a free ascent to the surface. With your spear gun and shaft attached to a float line and then a buoy on the surface, you can fight the fish from the surface. Number 20. This trawl has comparatively long wings, a pair of boats traveling in parallel direction at a fixed and constant distance from each other to ensure the opening of the net. A. Spanish trawl, B. Trammel net, C. Lure, or D. Japanese trawl? The answer is A. Spanish trawl. That's it for this video. See you on the next session.